he at? Yeah. Right here?
Yeah,
That's Hey, buddy. It's ready. Yeah, it's that one. Yep. All right. What's going on, everybody? The other day you saw me and a good family friend of mine start working on the electrical work in this house, which is what I wanted to do next. So I'm super excited about that. And then once that gets done, it'll just start making the whole process roll a little quicker. But this process is going to be a little slow for me because I have not done a lot of electrical work besides hanging lights, changing receptacles and light fixtures. Wiring up a whole house is completely new to me, so I have a lot to learn, but I'm really excited about it. You saw us tear out the old panel box, which was right there on the outside wall of the house, and we mounted this new square D panel box right here, which is right in the hallway. And I wanted to move it right here instead of being over there because I didn't like the idea of it being in the kitchen. And then right here, it's in the hallway, kind of tucked away and more centrally located to the house. In addition to that, you saw us run all the wire for the receptacles in the front side of the house, which is only 8, and we're going to run it off one 28 breaker. And we didn't get any of the receptacles wired in, but we got all the wires stubbed out. So hopefully I can get to some of that today. But pulling the wire was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be going into it. I've pulled some wire with the heating and air guy that I work for, but not that much or in this aspect. So that was fun to do. A little bit harder, but I learned a few tricks of the trade because at some point I'm sure I'm going to have to be pulling some wire over here by myself. So hopefully those things will make it a little bit easier. All that being said, I want to get into some work here soon. But before I do any of the electrical stuff today, I'm going to tear out the rest of this paneling and drywall in the kitchen. Kind of same thing that happened with the floor right in this area. I kind of got to a point where I was trying to save it, and then there's like, nah, this is pointless. Just go ahead and rip it up. And that's where I'm at with this, because it's going to be easier for me to run some wiring that I have to get here for some receptacles in the kitchen. So gonna do that real quick, and then hopefully I get into some electrical things today. Those two receptacles you just saw me wire up were with new boxes, or these are actually like replacement boxes, so you don't have to have access to a stud to be able to nail it to. The only problem is, see, those boxes are pretty big, have a lot of room for all your wires. These existing boxes are really small, they're metal, they're not very forgiving. So you can see over here, I just started on trying to cram everything in there, and it's gonna be cutting it really close to fitting all my wires in there, and you don't want them too crammed up in there. So hopefully I can do this one, figure out where every little wire needs to be to fit in there perfectly, and just roll on with the rest of them. Ta-da! Got it all in there, and it was actually way easier than I thought it was gonna be, so I am actually happy to get on with the next outlets. So originally I had an outlet in the hallway right here, but I'm actually seriously considering what you guys said about the pocket door. I haven't totally made my mind up, so just in consideration of that and getting the electrical done, because I would have to frame this out because the door would be going inside the wall somewhere in here, I'm gonna go ahead and move my receptacle in the hallway to right here, just in case I decide to do the pocket door. I don't know, still thinking through it, haven't completely decided. I could always go with a normal door like what was there, but I actually really did like your comments about the pocket door, and I'm really considering it. I'm trying to find one on Marketplace used that's been installed and someone took it out that I could reuse, because although they aren't very expensive, new, still trying to save some money with some used stuff as much as I can. Just a little size comparison to the boxes, the metal boxes I've been using, or the ones that I reuse. This is the size of them, and then this is the size of the standard box I got at Lowe's and I'm replacing some of them with. So it's a pretty big difference. This box would almost fit in here if it wasn't for these little things, so way more room with this. What's up, guys? The other day when I was here, I had whiskers on my chin, and now I don't. I shaved them. That was my first time really letting the beard go, but decided it was time for it to go for a little bit. But anyways, when I was out here, I was able to get the rest of the receptacles wired up for the wire we pulled. So for the front side of the house, all the receptacles are done. My dad came out here and helped me do some tedious things like I'd already torn down the drywall in here and the old paneling, but he cleaned the studs from all the nails. So that was a big help. He also tore this wall down. This is the bathroom wall because we had decided to do that. And while he did that, I ended up pulling the rest of the wire for the receptacles for this bedroom and the hall right there, and was also able to wire up those receptacles as well after I pulled the wire. While Dad was here, we did some thinking through as far as the kitchen, where the cabinets are gonna go and the stove. So the stove's gonna be right here in the middle, cabinets over here, cabinet right here up to the door, and then over here we're gonna put the fridge over in the corner, cabinet and sink, and then an end cabinet over there as well. So the thing about thinking through stuff is you've got to think through some things before you start just going and slapping things up, like the placement of receptacles. For instance, if we were to put one right here on that stud, and that's where we're planning on putting the stove, if we do that without thinking through it, then the stove is going to cover the receptacle. That receptacle is pointless. But you've also got to be careful with thinking through things. You can overthink and end up getting nothing done. So there's a fine line you have to draw, and a good balance of not just going in there and just slapping stuff up, but also not just thinking through for hours and hours and never getting done. I feel like I have pretty good balance. I tend to sometimes get a little eager and into things and start doing things without thinking, but that is why it's good also for me to have like my dad here or somebody here to be like, hold up, let's think through this. I also think I've decided to just go ahead and put my studs in right here, because I had planned on buying a shower insert. Then I saw a couple on Marketplace and went back and forth with people and haven't been able to secure one. But right now, this wall being up is kind of holding up our receptacles and our wiring. So I want to go ahead and build this, and all else fails, if I need to get a shower insert in here, I can take some of these walls down. They are screwed in, and screw them right back up to get the insert in. Kind of sad to see that big gap there go, because kind of enjoyed it being able to get right through the wall, which I can still fit through there, but the bigger gap was just way easier to get through. So I decided to overbuild this wall right here because I am planning on putting a microwave above the stove. And just while I had the whole wall open, I decided to put some extra studs in there so that I would have more options as far as screwing into a stud when I go to mount that microwave, not stove, microwave. It's been a while since I've been over here, guys, but I never showed you this. I actually did this back before Christmas, and I came with intentions to do some electrical work, but I wanted to start with replacing a couple boards, and it was like pulling a string. Once I started, all that came up, and obviously all this new wood, and I never ended up videoing. But I had this thought the other day that I wanted an outlet out here, in addition to my washer and dryer outlets, because I had this cool vision of having those outdoor lighting lights around here, and at night I thought that'd be a good idea. So I thought I need to add an outlet out here anyways, not just for that reason, but I'm gonna build a little box for the outlet to sit in, if that makes any sense. And then hopefully I plan on starting on the electrical or running the wires for my lights. I haven't done any of the lighting wire yet, and that's gonna require some thinking on my part. So today will probably move really slow, but I hope to see some progress today. just about done with all this electrical work. Still got a little bit more to do, but we are getting really close. Have all the wires just about run throughout the whole house. The only one I haven't got is to the water heater, and that is going to be coming out here. I'm moving that out here outside to free up some space on the inside. And before I run wire and build a box for my water heater, I wanted to fix some of these boards right here, so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. But in here we're pretty much done. Like I said, besides the water heater line and then the wire coming in for the main, and then we've obviously got to wire all our breakers in as well. But it's coming together. It's been a couple days since I've cleaned up. You can see it is an absolute mess in here. Probably the messiest it's ever been that I've left it overnight. So I'm wanting to end the day with a big cleanup in here to come in fresh tomorrow and get to work out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up, and I'll be back tomorrow to do the workout there. Then hopefully be done with the wiring this week. I got just about halfway done with the floorboards. Way sturdier than it was. It turned out to be a little bit bigger project than I was anticipating, which seems to be the common theme over here at this house, but no big deal because I want it done right. While I was under here, I knew I had some water issues under the house. You can see some sitting water, maybe. There's some right there. I knew I had water issues, I just didn't know where they were coming from. But since it's raining cats and dogs out here, I was able to figure out where it was coming from. And it's coming, this is the back of the house, it's coming in on the ground right there. which I'll go show you why it's doing that. This whole stretch across the back of the house has no gutter. So it's just coming down, piling up in this little area, which is where I'm keeping my materials right now, the old ones that need to be hauled off. But anyways, it is just piling up right in this area, and it's getting under the house. So a gutter is going to help with that significantly. And then I'm going to take some cinder blocks, kind of line in right here to kind of divert the water this way. You can see I did that kind of today with this little trench I dug to get it out this way, which is where it's naturally going towards the side of the house. I also dug a trench over here to get some of the water out, but it was raining too hard, so I had to stop. Didn't really get exactly where I wanted to. But anyways, I ran out of wood, so that's why I'm stopping over there on the boardwalk over here, which is also okay, because once I get the gutter up, I kind of want to give it a few weeks and kind of watch this water, make sure I fix the problem. And I don't need any of this wood right here right this second. I've got far enough where I can build my little box for my water heater, and since I have nothing else to do over here, I thought I'm going to go ahead and take this down, which is the bathroom where I put the exhaust fan yesterday. Go ahead and take this down. I've got some hardy plank board in the house that I'm going to put up, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then it's getting close towards the end of the day, so once I'm done with that, I'll probably go ahead and call it a day over here. After running that wire for my water heater right here yesterday, I got to thinking, because I kind of stepped back and I noticed how big my cabinet I built was for my water heater, and I wanted it a little big. I don't mind it being big because I've had to do some work on some water heaters in some really tight spaces, and having that tight space makes it a little bit harder to work on. So I'm perfectly fine with this size, but it's kind of right in the middle of the back porch, which I wanted it in the middle of the back porch because all my water lines run right down here at the middle of the house, under the house. So that was my thinking, but after seeing how big it is, I actually might put it back in this back corner once I get the decking down for that. So I'm actually pulled that wire back out. I'm going to hold off on that. I can still continue to do the electrical work because I can always come back and pull that wire for the water heater after everything's hooked up, just cut everything off. But today I'm actually, it's also, I know I showed y'all this, but it's actually worse than I thought. It is an absolute muddy mess around here. But anyways, yesterday before I left, I came back here to the side of the house and primed where the new meter can and everything is going. That's the existing one. We're gonna be doing a new one and a shut off out here. And that white paint being there looks so much better. That's actually just Kills. And I'm going to be putting some blue paint, which is probably the color I'm gonna paint the whole house, just on top of that before I mount all my meter cans, conduit, and disconnects. So hopefully we can get that mounted today and the wire run to the panel on the inside. Got a lot of work to do. I need to get started. my main disconnect wired up. Now I just gotta go from that disconnect to the main panel, or technically it would be a sub panel from here, which is in the house. Got the conduit connected under the house. Time to get the main line from this panel box inside to that breaker outside. So we'll see how that goes. First, I'm just gonna try to push it, feed it through. If that doesn't work, I might have to look up a YouTube video on how to actually do this. Here goes nothing. I feel like I'm already past my bend. I've got to be. I feel like. But there's really no way to tell, but I gotta be getting close. Oh boy. Let me go check outside. Let's do this. Got plenty of wire out there. Let's go ahead and go out there and wire it up, and then we can come back here and finish it up in here. the panel box is all wired up except my water heater, and that is because I haven't run my wire to the water heater yet. And if you remember, I had the water heater in the middle right here, but it turned out to be way bigger than I thought, so I ended up moving it to this corner, and I just don't have it set exactly where I want it, so I haven't been able to run my wire. But besides that, water heater wire, the electrical is just about done. Besides, I don't have any lights up yet, which I'll do that further down the road. But since all that's done, I'm ready for the power to be hooked up to outside to the panel in here, so that I can get some temporary lighting and have power in the house. So hopefully by the next video, I have all the power hooked up. Since I'm really close to being done with all the electrical, I wanted to go ahead and wrap this video up. It's been a long time getting this electrical work done, and I want to get into the timing of the electrical in just a minute. But other than that, I've got to clean up a bunch of electrical sheathing, stuff like that. Just kind of threw it everywhere. Also, I plan on scrapping all the copper wire that I pulled out, and then the scraps from me actually running and cutting because I ran too much. So I have a bunch of 2 foot to 3 foot sections that are really unusable, but I can go to the scrapyard and hopefully get a little bit of money off of that, which will help fund this project as well. So that's all the work for this video. I want to take a couple minutes and talk you through some things, how I feel about the project and what I'm kind of experiencing in the moment. For anyone interested or that wants to do something like this, just to be completely transparent as to how it's going and what to expect if you get yourself into this, because I've learned a lot already and I'm not even all the way done with the project. So I wanted to share what I learned, so maybe it can help someone out and just to document this journey of mine so I can look back in years to come. The first thing is the timing of projects, which I mentioned a second ago, as far as when I wanted to get things done and when they're actually getting done. So to put things in perspective, today is February 17th, and I wanted the electrical done before the first of the year. So that's like a month and a half after when I actually wanted it done. And just a little explanation of that is things happen. So I was planning on the last 2 weeks of the year taking time out here and knocking some things out, but we had a cold weather snap, and where I'm from, we're not prepared for things like that. So we had a bunch of water leaks, a bunch of pipes burst. So I spent the last 2 weeks of the year running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get people's water back on, fix their pipes that had busted. So things happen, and I didn't get even started with the electrical till January, but still took me a long time to do the electrical work because I've never really done a whole bunch of electrical work. I didn't know what was all involved, the sizing of wire, the way the wires go with switches, outlets, all that stuff. I've done a little bit, but not a lot. So as I was over here, I was kind of learning as I went, when I didn't realize I had that much to learn. So I was a little bit ignorant on the timing of how the electrical work was going to go, and then the intensity or the involvement of electrical work. I'm sure, just like anything, once you do it for a certain amount of time every day, it becomes second nature. But for me, electrical work is not that. So that is also another reason that it took just a little bit longer. And that kind of leads me into relationships, and the relationships that I have that really excelled me in the electrical work. Now, I have a whole bunch of other relationships with people that I'm sure they will help me with other parts of this project. But since we're talking about the electrical, I have my buddy Steve, a really good family friend. He came out the first day, and I was actually only planning on him just coming out and talking me through the process, get my head wrapped around amps, wire size, all of that, and he ended up helping me that day, which was a huge boost for me. So instead of him just coming out and telling me what to do and bolting, he actually came out, spent some time with me, told me what to do, and then helped me get started. So huge thank you to him. That was a mental thing for me that helped me get myself, excited about getting it done. And he showed me a few tricks that I think helped me along the way and really sped the process up. Without him, I would have never had that little bit of foundation. And then my buddy Robbie, y'all seen him in a bunch of videos. He helps me out all the time with all type of things. He's actually a lineman, so he knows a good bit about electrical, and his dad used to be an electrical contractor at one time. So if me and him couldn't figure it out, we'd give him a call, and he took time to talk us through some things as well. So all that to say, relationships are huge for me, and really should be for anybody and anything in life, is to make relationships, make connections, network with people, so when you get into a situation, you can call on those people, and then in return, you be there for them when they need help as well. Or at least that's how I look at it. Robbie, Steve, they help me, and then in return, although they don't expect anything in return, that's a huge thing for me as well. I will help them out with things as well. So that's a good way to be. That's how I strive to be, help people, not expecting anything in return. I think that plays a huge role in life, and really comes back to help you as an individual if you're that way in the long run. Even though in the moment, sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Seems like, oh, you know, they're getting one over on me. And even if it's not them that helps you, I really do believe that the Lord blesses people who help people out and gives them little wins along the way just for doing that. Another thing I wanted to address is what I'm actually going to do with this house. A lot of people have personally asked me that I know, and a lot of people in the YouTube comments have asked me, are you going to sell it? Are you going to rent it? Are you going to live in it? What are you doing? And the truth is, all those options are good options. I love options. I like to keep my options open. However, I can tell you what I'm thinking about. And I think in the YouTube title of this series, House Flip, was a little bit misleading, kind of making it sound like I was buying it to flip it to sell. At the end of the day, this is a house flip because I'm taking a house that was not in good shape and turning it into something that will be livable and really nice once I'm done with it. So it is a house flip, but selling would probably actually be my last option. I could live in it. I could live in one room. I could rent another room out and generate some income that way, a little house hack. But my plan as of right now is to rent it out to a family of some sort once I'm done with the renovation on this place. So to sum all that up, things don't always go as planned. I'm not discouraged about it because things could always be worse. I'm really excited to actually have the electrical done. And another thing is, I wanted this video out the 1st of February, and it's already mid-February, but hopefully I get this out to you guys in a couple weeks or a couple days, and you're watching this. That would be awesome. Thanks for tuning in and being patient as far as my videos. It takes me a little bit longer to get a video out. I just can't crank a video out every day or every week because it's taking me a lot of time to get this work done around here. You know, I'm not over here all the time, full time. You know, I've still got other things I'm doing to make money, and then I'm kind of doing this on the side, as well as YouTube is kind of like a side thing as well. But I want to keep you guys updated. I still plan on doing that. In fact, I am planning the whole month of March to be over here. I've scheduled that out, etched out in the schedule to be over here all of March. So hopefully by the end of March, a lot of this stuff is done, and we're starting to wrap up / see a final product. So anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. Hope you like what you're seeing. Let me know if you want to see anything specifically. Otherwise, I'm just gonna truck right along, keep doing my thing, but let me know in the comments what you think of the video, the work, how it's going. Drop a comment, like this video, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.